What's up everybody, my name's Kevin Toppelberg. Welcome to my channel. I think I have a good video for you today. We're gonna go through more of the scraping and we get almost all the way through. I edited all my videos and to get all the way through, it was gonna be 50 minutes, which I thought was too long for one video. So I'm gonna break it up into two videos, about 25 minutes each. And that 25 minutes is gonna get us like 2/3 of the way through the scraping. And then in the last one, we'll get through the scraping and then the painting and all that. It looks really nice. I've already seen it. Behind me, I have some pricker bushes, which are gonna give me some blackberries, hopefully later this summer. They got a nice smell with the flowers there. And I don't know if it's gonna come through, but there's been a cardinal just singing his heart out back there. I hope you enjoy this video. If you do like it, please give it a thumbs up. If you wanna subscribe, that's fun too. I love comments and I'm a small channel. Usually try to get back to everybody. All right, let's see how this goes. Good morning. I'm gonna start doing some scraping. I'm kind of discouraged about this surface plate. It's really not been treated well. It feels very rough. I think that's only due to pits. I think that there is a top plane that is flat and then there's dips out of that plane. But every one of those dips is gonna leave a defect when I go to print. You know, otherwise I'm gonna put the fitting die. When I put that on there and I put the metal down, it'll leave a hole there because it won't be in contact. So I'm gonna have to move the part all around to make sure that all the different parts have contact with the flat surface. Now that I have the sunlight there, you can really see it. So it's kind of discouraging, but you have to make do with what you can. I thought that the first thing I would do would be this surface. That way it would give me a little bit of practice in case I screwed something up. But the edges are almost worse than anything else. So, you know, I don't have a lot of thing here, and this is gonna have to come in. You know, so I got all these defects. Look at that big one. So I don't know if that's gonna work or not. We'll give it a try. I did come in with an orbital sander and just took out as much of the machining marks as I could. There's still some there. And I'm sure that that introduced some irregularities into the surface, but I figured even if I went and scraped the whole thing, it might still leave some of the machining marks. So I tried to get as much of that out as I could. It's cold this morning, 35 degrees, so not too much above freezing. My fingers are feeling it. Well, let's get this surface plate cleaned up. I'm using some crud cutter, I think is the cleaner there, and just getting all the grime off. Gonna make it look a lot better, I think. Well, look how black that towel is after the second cleaning. Not sure if that's just years of grit from that factory or what it is. I've gone over it several times now, and the color you can actually see is a mixture of dark and white granite, which I couldn't see before. As I'm editing this video, I really think that the defects that you're going to hear me complain so much about are due to erosion from the white quartz that just has flaked out. Anyway, it's very discouraging, you know, because it was so far away, I couldn't go and look at the thing before I bought it on the auction. Plus side is I have a surface plate that was within my budget. Downside is I'm not real happy with it, but I've changed my mind. I'm gonna do this surface first. This other one is gonna be harder and I got a worse surface, so I think I'm gonna start with the easier one first. If you look here, it's definitely pivoting right here in the middle, and I can feel just a little bit of rocking. So I'm gonna go ahead and print it, but I'm sure we're gonna need to start taking out stuff here in the middle. The fitting compound that I use says that it's non-drying and it's kind of a waxy, oily type material. And you have that roller there, it's got a rubber wheel to kind of smooth it out evenly, but you really have to work at it and push it. It doesn't just smooth out evenly on its own. I don't think that fitting compound likes the cold any more than I do. Decided I would break out one of the little camping heaters. And let's see if this will help warm up this area. I've got a fan over there, which I'm blowing up to the ceiling, hoping I can circulate any sort of warmer air that's up there. So here I've got the compound all smoothed out. Let's do a print. I tried to pick the area that I thought was the least degraded surface. Yep, all right in the middle. All right, first scraping pass to go. If anyone hasn't seen my other video where I made this thing, this is was a Sawzall turned into a scraper. It's got a carbide end piece there. I've previously used this on some steel and it didn't seem like it cut in very well. I'm hoping it does better on this soft cast iron. Okay, that's a first pass. I ignored this spot because I think it's rocking back and forth, and I think when it rocked over, it touched there, but I think that that's spurious. I mean, we'll get to there eventually. So I'm gonna go back and forth. I'm not gonna show each cycle. I'll come back after we've made some progress. Here's a quick update. It's been about 45 minutes. This area here really is quite high, and I've gone over it probably 10-15 times now, and I'm even just using the belt sander to just try to get material out of here. The area keeps getting bigger. You know, ultimately we want this blue to extend all the way to here and this all there and then to go on both sides. So we're making progress. It's just takes time. Here I am. Just did a print. Just a quick break. I went on vacation out to Loma Linda University in California. It was my 30th year graduation reunion. My mom went out there with me. She was out there with my dad. He also graduated from this same school 56 years ago. If you look behind us, those three figures that you see there is a depiction of the Good Samaritan story. The round buildings that you see are the towers of the old hospital, and I was actually born there. My mom, she's in her mid-80s and doing great. It was a great time having her with me. My great-grandfather immigrated from Denmark and moved to Loma Linda with his family. They lived in a tent while he was building this house. House is still standing today, looks real solid. So there's been 4 generations that have worked or gone to school here in Loma Linda. Pretty cool place. Hello, it's been several days. I've gone on vacation and come back and got caught up on my sleep, and now I'm back working on this. I've been using a combination of the traditional reciprocating scraping tool with carbide at the tip, where it just kind of takes out little chips, but it doesn't seem like it moves a lot of material. So when I keep having it like all my contrasts coming in one area, then sometimes I'll go to this, which is a flat disc on an angle grinder. And I even did this. It's interesting that when I do use the power tools, it's very uneven. So here you can see that my contrast is picked up back here, and in the middle there's not. So, and this is actually, I did the flap disc once, and then I've done the power scraper like 3 or 4 times. So I use the power tools to kind of get down, take off a lot of material, and then I come back and start evening it out. But you can see I'm making some progress. You know, it started here in the middle and it's been spreading out to the end. You know, I got that much there. I have this much here still to go. So of course that means that the whole middle has to go down until that starts touching. Really slow, tedious process, but it's not too bad. I put on a podcast and have some headphones, protect my ears, and just work on it. It's a pretty day out. Spring is coming. It's March here as I'm filming this. Okay, so here's what I got so far. And I'm gonna try to do this now with the flap disc, just because I think we're getting close here, but we still have quite a bit of way to go here. So I think all of this stuff needs to be lower. So I'm gonna come down with the flap disc, and then I'll show you what the pattern is, how it'll be just a few spots that are taking all the contrast, and then we'll fill it back in, because I think we have quite a bit of room to work with here. What I tried to do with the power tools is to take out, not all the way to take out the chatter marks from that scraper, but to make it just to look a little bit smooth. Being careful not to go outside the area, which I've been bluing. And then I use the belt sander, you know, which theoretically has a flat platen here, you know, to go on here to hopefully do this flat. And I think you can tell that it's not picking up on that side. And I don't think I'm getting any color there as well. So I just think that I've got a ways to go. All right, now let's blue it and see what it looks like. And here you can see the pattern after I take it down, and the fact that the lumps are not all spread out is a testament to the lack of flatness, and that's because that flap disc doesn't, you know, it's round and it's gonna make scallops and stuff, but the real thing is that we'd get it down because we just got a long ways to go. As I've been editing this video, I've tried to find a balance between not boring you all with showing just clip after clip of scraping, but on the other hand, I don't want to make it look like it can all be done in one pass and to make it just look super easy. This isn't really that complicated. You can clearly see where the high points are. You just have to keep taking off those high points. And so it's not really black magic, and I know a lot of people kind of get intimidated by the idea of scraping. It's not so much difficult to either understand or perform, it just takes lots and lots of passes. So I'm trying to show some of that balance here by showing some of the work that I do. With the nice bright sunshine coming in here, I don't know that it's going to show, but I can see a little bit of light coming through from about here over. So I got out my feeler gauges, and about 20 thousandths, like if I go right here, it won't go under at all. Starts going under there, and I can get 20 thousandths in that far. Actually, yeah, it's 21, and I think I might have even got 24 to go in just a little bit here. So I think if I'm gonna make the whole thing flat and having this corner touch, and the whole rest of that needs to come down 20 thousandths. So I think I'm gonna need to go after that with some power tools a little bit more aggressively. There's no point in going for perfection when I've still got so far to go. This is down 20 thousandths, so. Give a quick update. So here's where I've just scraped it all off. This is the place that it's not touching still, but the good news is, if you look, I've got contact all the way along. So now I just need to work it down until I get this little seam going along here. Of course, a little bit on this side as well. It's coming. Another update. I think I may have flipped this thing around from when I showed it last. The hole is right here. I'm doing pretty good. I'm not getting contact right there. And then starting from here, going down to there. Since I've updated last, I used the flap disc to take it down, because again, I can spend lots of time trying to make this all nice and flat, but as long as I've got that hole, there's not a whole lot of point in it. So I took the flap disc to try to take the whole thing down, and then of course it's very uneven and only picks up in a few points, so I've got to go several cycles to get that part back flat again to see where I'm at. So kind of think I might want to put it back up on the surface plate and see how much of a feeler I can get in there to see how far I've got to go. But it is nice that it's got the whole length, at least in parts. Okay, this is 18 thousandths. It doesn't go in there at all. Here it goes under, starts going under just a little bit. You can see it goes under that much. So it's probably 20 thousandths right there at the edge. If I go down to like 13 thousandths, I can go in a little bit farther. So I still have a ways to go. So I'm probably gonna have to get after it with some more heavier duty power tools to try to take the rest of it down. That's 18 thousandths there. Just as a comparison, this is 13 thousandths. Again, nothing there. It starts being able to go under. All right, I used the belt sander and I went over here until I felt like I was getting it down and starting to pick this area up and try to go back and forth. So now I'll show you how uneven, although it looks nice and smooth here, I'll show you how uneven it is when I put it back on the table. See, that's all it picks up. So again, I'll have to work on getting it, nice and flat again, and then find out where the holes are and rinse and repeat. There, they're redoing my septic system. All right, but back to here. So after doing the sanding flap disc, now have it where I got pretty much coverage. There's still a couple low spots from the flap disc, and then I still have this corner. Now when I take this over on the surface plate, 13 thou, right here, I'm able to get that about that far in. So that tells me I've got probably at least 13 thousandths to come down on all of this. So as much as I had to work to try to get this all back flat again, it's too slow with that. I'm gonna go and take the flat disc. And what I've been doing is just going down until I take out these scratch marks. So, you know, I think I've taken out 5 thousandths because I thought it was like 18 thousandths before. Now this is down to 13. So, gotta do it. All right, it's always a little terrifying to do that because I don't know if I'm doing something bad. I'm not sure why that part was uneven compared to everything else. It didn't go all the way down. There's still a couple scratch marks there. And I was watching this and I was looking to see when the wear on here would be the same as this, and it's closer, but I didn't take it all the way out. I think maybe I might have to go through another round of this, but I was just afraid I was going to go too far. So I thought it'd be better to slow down and just do it in another cycle. And you can see here, I think this was at a prior run, but you know, if I came off or something, or it all takes is just 1 second and you cause a problem there. Well, I think I'm going to take a break for today. I've gone back and forth and back and forth. I've got it back, covering much of it. I want to point out a couple of things. Number one, I don't know if I've been showing that I stone it with this stone after each time, and then I wipe it with a paper towel because I really don't want to get the filings and stuff over onto that, because if it gets stuck in that ink, and then it's just going to scrape. Second thing is, you know, when I use that power tool, I'm trying to go flat back and forth, but each time I've done it, it's left a little bit of a lip along the sides. So I think that there's something when I'm going back and forth, I just can't help but it going off on this side or off on this side, because it's on both sides, and then I have to work down to get that out. You can see that I still have that there. I think it's smaller than it was. Maybe next time I come out, I will measure it with a feeler gauge again. All right. Well, I don't know if you can see up there my septic system. I had a tree growing right over the tank, which just really messed it up. Where the tank empties out, as we are tearing it all apart, it looked like there was not even any fluid coming out of it. I think it was somehow all going into the roots, which didn't make any sense to me. But anyway, I've had to tear it all out and put bypasses and clean out lines, and what a mess. This is part of the remains of the tree after they ground it down. You know, at some point we'll have to do something here. It just looks horrible. I think you can come back maybe and try to grade it. What a mess. All right, here we are again. I have reasonable coverage, as in that this would be a place to start trying to get it in, except for this. So I'm gonna take a big risk and try going a little bit further on that horizontal belt sander. That sander has a old motor and it overheats and it would just bottom out. It just wasn't working. So came over, finished up with the belt sander. I went until that area there started having uniform marks across. All right, let's see what we got. And that's the contact I'm getting. There, and nowhere else. Okay, so now we're gonna start the long process of getting it flat again. I'm not gonna show all that. Probably gonna take me a couple days. Well, I actually was able to go back and forth pretty quick because I didn't have a huge area, and I've gone about 5 or 6 cycles, and I'm actually very happy to see that it's touching all the way along. Now, it isn't left versus right. I don't think that's gonna be as big an issue. I was really worried that, you know, because I was trying to work here and then here, I was gonna worry that I had made a big banana, but it looks like it's actually pretty flat here. So that's all for tonight. It's 9:30, I gotta work tomorrow, so heading to bed. Progress continues. All right, everybody. It's been days and days since I've been out to work on this. It's been chilly. It was 39 degrees this morning. Today's the first day of spring as I'm recording this, but look how I'm doing. I'm making some good progress. Not showing a whole lot, but because it's kind of tedious and the same thing over and over. I will say, show a little bit of an update. I got a leather strap here that hangs up here, and then that could just go over my shoulder, and then all I have to do is I push down on this, and so I don't have so much vibration in my hands, and I'm hoping that that's going to do better because I've had my hand be numb. This is a little hook that I put in there. This is not super high tech, but it seems to work because I had some problems with numbness when I've used this before. So I'll check back after I make some more progress.
And now, for your listening pleasure, I want you to lean back into that chair, take a good stretch, get comfy, take a sip of your favorite beverage. Think about how life is good. Think about all the good things that you have. Think about how grateful you are to not have to scrape in a Machinist straight edge.
I'm really liking this belt. Before I had to hold it up here with my hand and my hand would be all vibrating and it would get numb. This way, all I can actually do, I can just kind of even push and then I can kind of steer it with this. And this handle is sweet. I like this. All right, I thought I would do a little status check. I think before when I was showing it, I think it might have been this corner that was high. And now it seems like it's this corner. I mean, I flip it back and forth so much I'd have to go back and look at the old footage, but this is a 3 thou. You can see that it doesn't, I guess I'll do it this way. You can see that it doesn't go there. Here it's starting to go under. So 3 thousandths goes in that far. Certainly better than the, was it 13 I was doing before? I want to show something that I've noticed. When I'm scraping, it would be easiest to start towards the back and move forward. And the reason it's easiest because I can see the marks of where I need to go. The problem is that as it scrapes, it pushes forward and then I get a little mound of that dust that has the pigment mixed in with it, and then it becomes hard to figure out what is mark on the metal and what is just the powder. So to get by that, I found if I go in the reverse direction, I can usually still kind of see where I need to go, or I can just go forward for just a little bit. But in general, I move backward because when I was going forward, I had to have a vacuum in my second hand and to be constantly vacuuming it off, and then I couldn't hold both hands and it was awkward. So just doing in the reverse direction has helped me out. I've also found that the angle of lighting, so I've got this light here, but often it can make matters harder to see depending on what angle I'm at. Whereas I turn the light off and just use ambient light, it seems like it actually works better. All right, here we are. We've got this still left to go. And a little bit along here. But I'm very close. One other insight I wanted to say is when I have that surface plate, I put the fitting compound or the pigment on the surface, and then it comes and it touches the high points. But if you put a thicker level, in other words, you make sure you've got a good amount on there, then more of the pigment will show up here. So you just get, rather than it touching just the very tip, it kind of touches a wider area. And what I found is as I put it on and I go back and forth, you know, that pigment starts getting thinner and thinner. And I found I was just having less and less touch each time, which is great if I want to be precise. But in this case, I still have a ways to go to get down to here. So I went and put more pigment on, more fitting compound, get a nice thick application, and then that gives me bigger area to take away, and hopefully it'll make my progress go faster. All right, I think I'm gonna knock off for a little while. I'm super happy at how this is coming along. I don't think it's gonna take me too much longer to pick up in here. Just a little tiny bit left in there. And then I got this part. So I'm hoping that that's not gonna take too much longer to come in. It's getting close, I'm getting excited. I'm gonna leave that pigment on there as a motivation when I come down next time to say, hey, let's get that going. Okay, as I said before, I'm gonna cut it off there. It's about 25 minutes. I'm gonna leave the next video to be about a similar length. It's gonna be a good video next time. I want you to come back. We're gonna get all the way through, and I think the end product looks really good. Hoping you're enjoying this journey. It's been fun. I don't know if you can tell, but it's been months in the making. When I was editing the video, I noticed there was snow on the ground in the beginning, and now here we are full into summer. So, if you did like it, please give it a thumbs up and a subscribe and some comments, and please come back for the next one. Bye. Peace out.